Assume that nod was that we're close to being on TV.
We're very close. All right. Welcome to the City of Columbus Plan Commission regular meeting for Thursday, October 17th, 2019. The time is 6:31 p.m. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Matt, if you could please take a roll call.
Sure. Lewis,
Here.
Bastian,
Here.
Parpart,
Here.
Traxler,
Here.
Zapataki, Monday, and Johnson are excused.
Thank you.
We have a quorum too.
All right, this meeting was noticed in accordance with state statutes and local ordinances. First thing we need to do is approve the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, agenda is approved. Next up would be approve the minutes from September 19th, 2019's Plan Commission meeting.
This will move.
I'll second that.
That was you, Brad, right? Okay. So, thank you.
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the September 19th Plan Commission meeting. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Citizen comments. No citizens are present. Number 7, unfinished business. There is none. Number 8, new business. A, consider recommendation to the Common Council regarding the certified survey map for Thomas Brennan at 422 West Prairie Street. Matt?
So what we have is an application for is this on?
I can hear you.
Okay. Application from Thomas Brennan at 422 Prairie. They're essentially going to square off their lot by buying basically a 30 by 65-ish, 65-foot from their neighbor to the, I guess it would be more to the south of them. So it's kind of taking two L-shaped parcels and making them two rectangular-shaped parcels. It's, you know, we wouldn't, everything would be a conforming lot from creating these two lots. So there's no issues with that. I've spoke with the city engineer, Jason Letha. He has no concerns with the CSM as it's presented. The one thing I have reached out to the surveyor and asked for was the zoning on the CSM is actually R3, not R1, as it's listed in the bottom left of the CSM. So they're going to revise that. So essentially tonight, I would say it would you should conditionally approve it based on them changing that, which I've talked with Scott Hewitt, who's the surveyor on that, and he's already working on it, and we'll have a new copy ready for the November 5th council meeting. So this would go to council. So really there's not much else to say. It's a pretty clear cut
All right.
project. So.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, it does look pretty self-explanatory. I mean, you have the two L-shaped lots and you make it two rectangular lots. I don't have any concerns with this. So is there any more discussion on the item? Seeing none, entertain any motions you would have.
I make a motion that we approve the request for changing the lot sizes and configuration of it, and recommend that it goes to city council with the certified survey map being changed.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. You got that, Matt?
Yep.
Okay. So a motion and a second to recommend to the council approving the certified survey map for 422 West Prairie Street. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? All right. We'll forward that to the common council. Second up, I have item B, review and discussion regarding zoning permit application and certificate of zoning compliance. Matt will go ahead and
Yeah.
talk about this one as well.
So really, this is gets to kind of issues that we've had in the past, both during my time and before my time, of making sure that the building inspector is getting some assistance with reviewing our zoning code. Before I started here at the city, technically the building inspector was designated as the zoning administrator, but now with my position, the city council has changed our ordinances, so the zoning administrator is appointed, and then they appointed me to the position of zoning administrator. So one of the things that I've wanted to do was to create a way to intake applications, to review a number of things, to basically verify that before something gets built or something is occupied within the city, that they're actually meeting our zoning codes. Believe it or not, right now, if it doesn't need a building permit, they don't always check with the city whether or not they're permitted by zoning. So there's always, and this process probably won't catch everything, because there's always going to be people that don't check with the city. So those issues some of these issues will still exist, but this is hopefully will streamline the process and make it easier for the city to track it and for businesses to get their permits as needed. So, and one of the other things I would also state is that if you look at our code right now under 114, 150, the zoning administrator should be issuing a certificate of zoning compliance, which technically we're not doing in a formal way. I mean, really right now when we're approving building permits, that in a lot of cases that is essentially giving them a certificate of zoning compliance, even though we don't give them a sheet of paper. And I would like to get to a point where we're giving them some sort of record that says this has been reviewed and the city, verifies that you meet our zoning code. So that's where this is going. And this was discussed earlier this year with the Plan Commission, and I know we have some new appointees. I think I did discuss this before some of the new appointees were up here. But one of the issues has always been fee schedule and attaching a fee to this, and how much should it be. I've done, I guess, a fair amount of research and just kind of looking at what other communities do. And it's all over the board, because some communities really don't have anything formal like this, and others do. The one I really borrowed from the most, because I know the planners there, is Sun Prairie. And Sun Prairie does something very similar to this, and they charge $25, and that's kind of where I'm at for price, because most of these are things that I can review in 5 to 10 minutes and say, yep, this is gonna meet everything. So, I mean, the fee would be there to offset my time, and basically cover that review for the city. So getting into the things that we would look at, I mean, really, for new construction, we're talking any new commercial building, new or addition, any new residential construction or addition, or any accessory structure. So basically, and I probably should put any new permanent accessory structure, because obviously in those things you're looking for setbacks, you're looking for lot coverage, you're looking for things that we have in our code, and make sure that they're following our zoning code. For the most part, right now, what will happen is when Dion, who is our building inspector, gets a permit, he'll come to me, I'll review it and tell him, yeah, you can move forward, this looks good. So we're doing that now, just not in a formal way. The one that we really need to track, I think, is new use or change of use. So basically, this is going to be technically more like an occupancy permit. If you want to rent a space downtown, this would be just a fail-safe check to make sure that, yes, what you're doing is a permitted use in the downtown. Here you go, have fun, and go from there. And the other one is just if you're doing some sort of work to your site, whether it be parking or any sort of grading work, that you'd need some sort of permit to basically to do that sort of work. And I would obviously check. I did put other, because there could be a couple things that might be a way to kind of double check the zoning, and it would be a good thing. So there's a couple scenarios out there. I'm not really thinking of one. I probably should have prepared one, but the application, I try to keep it pretty simple. It's, the application information, property information, and then there's a little, I guess, kind of a waiver that basically says that just because I give approval, you still have to follow building codes and get any permits from building, basically saying that this is not a building permit. And then I would issue a number. The other thing that, to be on the back page for submittal requirements, one of the things I think we really need to start cracking down on probably is getting more detailed site plans. A lot of times, Deanna and myself are reviewing things that are not, they are not, I guess, professional, I would say. They're not, I mean, they're kind of hand sketch drawings. They're not the scale. It's sometimes we need more detail, and when we get more detail, we can make better decisions on how they meet our codes. So really three things: site plan, obviously complete the application, and then a plan of operation. Which I stole this right from our code. These are the things that we require in a plan of operation. And essentially all I need for that is like a paragraph or two just describing what you're going to do with your space. And then I can, have a better understanding of what you're going to be doing as a business. And then I put any other things, any other items requested by the zoning administrator, because there might be more. In the case of if it's a rather large project, then we get into full site plan review where we're going to need landscaping plans, lighting plans, and all that kind of fun stuff. And then for the certificate, this is kind of the draft I have. Basically where, I'll fill this out, I'll put in, the applicant's name, address, parcel number, what kind of application it was, and then I'll do my review right on it so that they know the things we're looking for. So looking at the zoning district, you got to look at shoreline zoning, so anything that's within 300 feet of a navigable waterway. You'd have to, make sure that whatever they're doing meets shoreline zoning requirements. Obviously, it meets all the district requirements for zoning. Also, we have a code for accessory structures, so making sure that everything under that code is met, everything under our parking requirements are met, and then obviously the other thing is making sure it's not in the floodplain too. So and then you basically issue, this would be the certificate. You write, yes, I approve it, or I deny it, and you write why. You sign off on it and date it, and then you give it to them. And the other thing to note is I want to make sure the building inspector, fire chief, city administrator, and plan commission. So I would start putting everything I would issue, all these, every month when we'd meet, it would just go in the back of the packet as an informational, so the decisions I'm making. And I guess it could go to council too, for that matter, if we really wanted. I don't know. I guess I'm looking more for Andy if council would really. I know your packet's 150 pages, so I don't want to necessarily put more information in there if it's not needed. But so that's kind of what I was thinking. As I said, the fee schedule is really what kind of held it up, because I knew we were going to be looking at our fees, because if you look online, we kind of have our fees under the ordinance in a couple different places, excuse me. Right now there's a team of us, of city staff, that is going through and looking at where we have fees within our code and making sure it's all consistent, because in some places it's not consistent. So once we kind of basically repeal and replace everything with the new fees, this will go into place. So I'd imagine sometime, hopefully right around the beginning of the year, that would get approved. So starting in 2020, we would have a process to kind of document everything. So that's all I have. I think I covered everything. Let me know if you have any questions.
Okay. Questions for Matt right now? Did have one. This is for, the beginning of it says it's for new construction of residence or building additions of residential.
Yep.
But then the submittal requirements and the certificate of zoning all seem to be heavily, going towards businesses, commercial properties. At least it's,
Well, so are you talking for the submittal requirements?
Yeah.
So I guess I could clarify a little bit. Obviously, you don't have a plan of operation if you're a house. I mean, that's for businesses. But whether you're building a house or building an addition, or you're building a new commercial building or adding onto a commercial building, we need to have some sort of site plan showing this is the property lines, this is
Right.
where we're building. So you're right, the plan
it's
of
talking about
operation.
signs, outdoor lighting, you know, I don't think you need that information for a home,
Correct.
right?
So, yeah, so in some ways, I'm trying to make it so kind of a one-size-fits-all rather than having, and once I'm done with this, I want to go through our other zoning applications and kind of pare those down, because we have a conditional use application, a rezoning application, and then when you get in land division, we have a CSM application, a subdivision application, and they all kind of
Yeah.
ask the same questions, and I'm like, why can't you just have one land division application and have one zoning application? So that's kind of where I'm going, but I haven't had the time to get into those applications yet. I mean, I've looked at them, I haven't gotten to a point where anything's ready to come to you guys.
Right. So that makes sense. Do you think it would be worth separating those, or do you think it's?
I should
You want-
probably put a note in there that says, obviously, plan of operation doesn't apply to, and I hope, as the zoning administrator, most of the times, I'm giving the people this information ahead of time, so I'm giving them some feedback before they apply, yes.
We've had 2 or 3 different requests where people changed from just simply a residence to a combination residence plus business in their home.
So you're talking home occupation?
So how would you, it's not listed as a business like blah blah uptown. It's listed as Timbuktu Street, whatever. How would you handle that? So, you know, what Andy was talking about is everything directed more at businesses.
Yeah. So under, I can't remember what exactly, it's under 114, our zoning code. There is I think it's 114-106, now that I think about it, but don't quote me on that. If it's a home-based occupation, obviously the primary use is considered a resident, right? And then, let's say somebody's an insurance salesman and they have their office in their home. So it's basically considered a conditional use permit. And that is something I want to look at, but that would need more of an ordinance change, because we have, in our code, we have a list of 12 items that are basically the conditions for any home-based occupation. So we already tell any home-based occupation that this is what you have to do, and it's like you can't have more than a couple cars on the street, and there's a whole lot, as I said, there's 12 things identified under that. I've thought that rather than making that a conditional use permit where you need to go through and do a public hearing and a class 1 notice and all that, I thought that maybe that could be another thing that could be maybe changed from a conditional use permit, since we already have the conditions, and just call it a home occupancy permit or home business permit or some sort of permit, and then have a different fee schedule for that, because we charge $250 for a conditional use permit, and for a home-based occupation, I don't think the intent of the conditional use permit really meets a home-based making the home-based occupation having to go through that. I think it's a different intent, but that's also would have to go to council discussion, because it would be an ordinance change. But as I said, right now it's a conditional use permit. The conditions are clearly laid out in our zoning code, and
Yeah.
I haven't, I know there's home occupations that are out there. I have not had an application come to me for opening, a home-based business. So
Okay. So next steps for this, I think maybe we should have another look at it with Alder Johnson and Chair Monday.
Yep. And eventually, this would have to go before council. I mean, right now, as I just put on there for discussion.
Yeah.
At a certain point, I would ask for a recommendation to council to support this format. And obviously, that would be kind of going concurrent with trying to get the fee schedule updated, because once we have the fee schedule in place, then we can start implementing this. So,
Yeah, I think overall it looks good. It's got good structure.
Okay.
I think maybe some tweaks will need to be done
yeah,
to it, but
yeah, no, yeah, no doubt
overall, I
about
think
it,
it's
so.
I think it's good.
Okay,
But yeah, I'd like to look at it with the chair and the
Yep.
other alder who were both excused tonight. But
Yep.
I think it would be. I think it's a good start.
that's what I needed. I just wanted to get some feedback and make sure I'm on the right page. So, thank you.
Does anybody else have any comments on agenda item B for 8B? Okay, seeing none. Matt, do you have anything else?
No,
Okay.
not for this. No.
All right, the next item up then is to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Next meeting is going to be Thursday, November 21st.
And
2019.
I had to double check. That is the correct, because the Thursday is the first, or the 7th, or the first Thursday in November is the 7th.